Now we're 2 days, 48 hours after the ladder reset, and my build isn't exactly where I want it to be. It's not really that great. But as I go over my build and show you kind of where and how I got what I have, this is going to be a valuable lesson for all you slayers out there. Now here we are, and you see sorcerers with the crossbow. Now the first few days of ladder and kind of on the playthrough, I was kind of going like huge static for teleporting on the playthrough, and then with Nova. And then I did go into the Nova build to kind of farm up my gear and just to get some runes from the counters, things like that, to get some value in order to trade at least for a couple of items that you have to get this build online. That is the Demon Machine, and that is the Razor Tail. I got 2 runes relatively quickly. If you didn't see the clip, I actually got an rune on the very first Countess run I did. Pretty nasty. And I actually got an rune from my Nightmare Hellforge. So that was pretty convenient, and I didn't really worry about the value. Is this really worth more than that? I decided to trade both of those to go ahead and get one for the Demon Machine and one for the Razor Tail. Just go ahead and get this build online, and those are the 2 things that you need. Now, in the last season, when I started off with Fist of the Heavens Paladin, I got incredibly lucky. Now, hopefully, you're watching a clip right now of me finding a Griffin's Eye on whatever was the 2nd or 3rd day of ladder, and it rolled real dang good. I think it was 1% off of perfect on both the plus and the minus resistance there for the lightning, so that was mega convenient. Essentially decked out my entire character with that right there. And then I had other days, kind of a little more in the future, where I actually found 2 runes in an ist within like 20 minutes of each other, all in the exact same game, which is pretty crazy as well, getting all of that value. Well, this isn't a complete build guide. If you want to, I'll put a link in the description to like the end game build guide that I had done before for this. But just taking a look at kind of what I have and why with this gear my build isn't really that great, and it's okay. It's okay. You can't always get lucky. Even someone who plays as often as I do, content creator who's streaming and doing all this stuff, I mean, you can't always get lucky. It's part of what makes Diablo 2 so great. Sometimes you hit the jackpot, sometimes you don't, but it makes hitting the jackpot even that much more sweet. But up here, so this is about the best I had up until this point. We have a circlet here with the sorcerer skills, got some mana. It's got 18 magic find, like that. 1 to sorcerer skills, 15 strength, some mana. Cool right there. Still rocking this stealth from the playthrough, fellas. Well, not from the playthrough, but right after the playthrough when I did it, because I played through on classic this time, which is one of the reasons I went with staticer main. But you know, that's neither here nor there. Looking over at the gloves, check these suckers out. Ooh, baby, those are beautiful right there. So I shopped these from one of the vendors. 19 magic find gloves. I didn't have anything over here. I had some rare gloves that had like 11 fire res, 13 lightning or something like that. Decided to throw these on for the magic find, getting rocking after that. Standard blue 10 FCR ring. I have not found a single rare 10 FCR ring yet, so we're still rocking that to hit a teleport breakpoint, which we'll talk about when I hop over my secondary. You already know I got the Demon Machine and the Razor Tail, so we don't need to go over that. I found a couple of Raven Frosts already, so cannot be frozen on any of these. You're going to get slowed down like crazy shooting if you do get frozen, so you got to have that somewhere. And we got these rare boots over here. Not bad, not super spectacular, kind of cool. Now on the offhand, kind of funny. Under normal circumstances, I wouldn't be using some of this stuff this way, but here we have a Wizard Spike. With everything I have on, I hit the 105 breakpoint, which is great for staticking super fast. And then you swap over and start blasting, swap back, and we teleport and static on this hand right here. So we have the Wizard Spike for a bunch of FCR, and we actually have Wall of the Eyeless over here. So I did find a Monarch, but I went ahead and traded that away for some other stuff. So right here, we get 20 FCR, and this lands us exactly, perfectly exactly on the 105 breakpoint. It is ethereal as well. It will break eventually. You don't really get hit a ton on your teleporting side, and it's just, you know, exactly what we needed there to get that breakpoint. So kind of interesting. Now for this build, I did try out the Act 1 Mercenary with an Insight, because when you're teleporting, your mana just runs out. Really, budget-wise, you gotta have an Insight just to be able to teleport into static and stuff. But what I decided was I actually need the Mercenary to kind of like distract or like to hoard together the mobs, so that when you shoot your crossbow and the explosion can hit all the monsters at once. So you really need a melee character up in there. And you could go Act 5 Mercenary, I suppose, or there is going to be options I'm sure you could use. But having an Insight is crucial. This is the best one I have so far. I do have a standard CV, but the strength is going to be super high to use that. Due to some of the gear on here, I could actually use it after I hit the next level, I believe. My strength's at 208. You need 210 to use a non-ethereal Colossus Bulge for an Insight. I'm probably going to be using that later today, to be honest. I'll get that next level for sure. But slap an Insight over here for all the obvious reasons. Up here, I went with a Bulwark. I had a comment on a video. How come no one ever uses Bulwark, Phil? And it's kind of one of those things to where it's like not super crazy low budget that I'd put in a crazy low budget video, and it's not like good enough that I'd put it in, you know, an expensive video, but it is great to use if you don't find that Tails Mask yet. I would say this is just underneath what I would use instead of a Tails Mask, or maybe right even with it. So Bulwark is a great option here, and yeah, I really should mention it more often, to be perfectly honest. And right here, kind of a funny option. This is where we get some of the strength. So if you do find a Griswold's armor, usually people don't keep these, they just charge them, but if you can ask someone if they find one to just give it to you, really, or give them next to nothing. 20 to strength, boosting that strength up so you can use a CV Insight way earlier. And we just plugged in a rune word that I made up, Raltal, or it really just gives you fire, lightning, and poison res. I decided to go forego the cold res and get the poison, so when we go after Andy, she poisons you, of course, or anywhere else you get poisoned. So really, you're getting 30 to the resistances. So the important resistances, cold, I mean, not a lot of things use cold damage unless you're going after Duriel a lot. We got our resistances capped. We've got life leech on this guy. We got damage reduction. We got our meditation aura. We have the cold aura to slow down the monsters that are coming at us, so they'll hit him slower, killing him slower. The life leech keeping him alive, bringing his life back, and then boarding the monsters around, and we'll blast them away with the crossbow. So what do we do with this build? I'll show you the first out here, coming out to Andariel, get our enchants going, and get down there. I will mention too, I do take stuff out on the way, and I actually found something super amazing that I'm going to show you at the end of the video, but it wasn't in the first 48 hours, the first 2 days, so I didn't include it on showing you this build, because this is how my build went for the first couple of days. Already down to Andy, we got to see how it goes depending where the monsters are at, because if you didn't notice, almost everything down here is immune to fire, which is what we're dealing. So if we can get Andy kind of separated, get Andy away from the other monsters, and really hit her down pretty good. You see we static her about halfway, and then we get her the rest of the way. Didn't find nothing here. Let's hit a couple other areas that I really use this in quite a bit. Now we're plowing deep into the Stony Tombs. Let's see with this budget gear how it works down here. So if you didn't know, obviously there is no fire immunes, and actually there's no cold immunes except for the one creeping feature, dude. So, ooh boy, a little hot. You do have to be careful with budget gear like this because, yeah, you could get in some big trouble in a hurry if you get hit by the wrong monsters. So you can see it takes them out really pretty easy. You would really want the monsters to be kind of lumped up a little bit better, but is what it is. With our budget build right here, we got to be a little bit careful. Mercenary kind of getting hit out. And I haven't done this a ton yet, actually, but this is a good spot for any of the fire builds because of the no fire immunes. But those beetles, as you can see, all the lightning coming out, can be a little bit on the dangerous side. So we'll go after maybe one more pack here just to kind of give you an idea. The closer they are together, the faster you're going to kill the monsters because each individual monster will be hit with a singular explosion. But I'll move on to the next place. You got a good idea of how it works down in this area. Now I'm actually going to show you an area here, taking out Mephisto, maybe Motric and Mephisto, that you actually don't want to do. Now Andy has that weakness to fire, well Mephisto does not. So you can go ahead and static Mephisto down. My mercenary is going to get slapped here probably. But just look at the damage that this does to Mephisto. It is killing him technically. But this is going to take 7 years at this pace. Even if you're Motricking him, that's going to be a while. So I would say just kind of avoid Mephisto, even though you have a ranged weapon. You could Motrick him. It's really just too slow. But of course, classic place right here. We're going after Eldritch first off. And you can take them out pretty quick. You see blast, blast, blast. The whole pack goes down. I did static him. He's immune to fire. We do a baby amount of physical damage, but our mercenary can go ahead and take him out. You're going to be better off just hitting all the rest of the packs, making sure everything else is taken out, if it does come down to this. Unfortunately, he was going after these other ones that are immune to fire, but that took a longer than I would like it to. But down here, I will go after sometimes. It's going to depend how many of these archers and or quill rats are around. See, if I can't find a good area like that, that's nasty. I'm about to die. I'm just going to go ahead and avoid it, to be perfectly honest. But you can go Eldritch and then Shank as well, depending on how the monsters look. With this budget gear here, sometimes you just have problems. Now you could, it's not always optimal, and a lot of times he can be like immune to certain things. He'll be immune to lightning or fire or something. This time he is not. Thrush Shock it. He can drop almost all the items in the game. I think there's actually like 15 or something he can't drop. A lot of the same things that Pindle can. You could get a Wind Force out here. You could get a D-Web from him or something like that. Kind of gets a lot of rares and stuff like that, but yeah, you could hit Thresh Shock if you wanted to, and I did mention him already. You could do this guy through the red portal right here, Pindle. Now he could be dangerous. Watch out for the charge, but man, look at how much I blast them down. Boom, boom, boom. Pretty quick for a super budget build like this, and yeah, they're gone. They're down. So Pindle is going to be a great spot for this build, but the best spot, probably one of the better spots, and one place that people love doing with this build. You didn't guess it yet. We're doing cows, so make sure we're enchanted up. Get our mercenary enchanted if you'll move off the portal so I can get you. So generally, if you didn't notice it on the gameplay, you want to static everything as much as you can, especially budget early on like this. You want to try to get the cows to lump up as much as you can, and then when you hit them, only a couple of bolts will chop out most of the cows. Now it's going to depend how many you hit, and you do have a 99% chance to pierce with the razor tail and the bow, so I guess it's not literally everyone. But for the most part, you're getting pierced essentially every time. And static, 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 static. I kind of, even just to kind of make it easier on myself, it might not be the most efficient, I don't know, but I'll kind of wait for them to lump themselves up. Ooh, extra fast cows are gonna be a problem, but we'll blast these down as we're hitting the straight line. Ooh, mercenary is gonna get ripped by these guys. These are tough when they get fanaticized like this, and there's this many fanaticized cows. You're gonna want to pull him back. Ray, oh boy, he just one-shotted him. Gross. So let's go ahead and move on to something else. So that kind of thing can happen. Let me go ahead and get my mercenary back real quick and kind of show you a little bit more. With everything being budget, these kind of things just happen. Here we are, we kind of get in the middle of a bunch of cows and static, static, static while they're kind of like hurting themselves towards your Act 2 mercenary. You do kind of have to pull him back for safety every once in a while, but if you're shooting near him as well, you'll do enough damage to put the cows into hit recovery, and that can kind of keep them alive as well. So it's one of those situations where a good offense is kind of helpful for your defense, right? Move on to another pack here. We're not going to show you the full run, but just show you a little bit more here before I want to jump in and show you one of the sick finds that I did find kind of just after that 48-hour mark. We got to find some more cows so we can lump them together. There we go. Here's a good pack to show you. So static, static, static. They're pretty much static down to about maximum, and hit them a few times, and the pack goes down. So is it a Lightning Fury Javazon? Well, I suppose probably not quite. A very interesting, fun build that's different. Now over in the shared stash there, I bet you see that green cap. And no, I did not stick an emerald in a one-socketed cap or something like that. I actually found myself a Shaco the other day. Pulled this typical SweetPhil maneuver. Forgot to hit record. It was late at night, I just didn't think about it. But found myself a Harlequin's Crest. And this is a huge upgrade that I just got. I pretty much haven't played. I've only done a few runs here and there with it. And the scaling on this particular build, each individual plus skill, literally is like a meaningful feeling difference, like that much more damage. So plus skills on this is going to be crucial. I have no skillers or anything down here. It's just a bunch of random stuff. Got lucky with some 7 Magifying Small Charms, I guess. But this Shaco, crucial, damage reduction, life. You know what's on the Shaco, fellas. It's absolutely amazing. So let me know where you got to on your build and what build you tried for this season. I would love to hear about it, and other people check out what everybody is playing. It's kind of a fun exercise. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe up. Before you go, peace out and keep slaying.